Hello everyone! In this video, we'll go over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Orange Unit 5 words. You can follow along at home using your book. Let's get started! Our first word is antique. Antique is a noun, so it is a thing, and it's an object made long ago. Something made in the past. So antiques are very old things that were made a long time ago. The sample sentence says, some people fill their homes with antiques. So some people put some old items like these in their homes. And an antique can be any item that is from a long time ago. It can be a clock, a vase, even toys like these. I can say, these toys are antiques from over 100 years ago. And here are some binoculars that are also antiques. So people don't use them anymore. They're just for looking at because they're very beautiful. Most often people have antique items because they do look very beautiful, and usually items that are new or modern don't look like this anymore. Some synonyms for antique are heirloom and relic, and there is no antonym for this word. We can also use antique as an adjective, so now I can put it in front of a noun to describe that noun. The meaning is the same, it's still something from the past or very old. For example, the antique cradle was carved in 1847. A cradle is a bed like this that a baby would sleep in, and here we're using the word antique to describe the cradle, so it's now an adjective instead of a noun. Another example would be, we sat on an antique sofa in my grandmother's house. So here is an antique sofa. It's very old or from the past. I could also say, the antique mirror has fancy gold edges. You can see the gold edges here on this mirror. It's an antique mirror. And I could also say, she found an antique necklace in her grandmother's jewelry box. So, in all of these examples, we use the word antique to describe each item. So we can use antique as a noun to talk about the things that are antiques, or as an adjective to describe those things as being old. Some synonyms are ancient, old-fashioned, and vintage. Antonyms are modern, new, current, and fresh. Our next word is baggage. Baggage is a noun, and we can use this word in two ways. It can be suitcases, bags, packages, equipment, or other items that travelers carry. So a person who is traveling would have baggage. They would carry those things. It can also be things that get in the way. The example sentence says, many travelers carry too much baggage. So sometimes when people go on a trip, they will have too many bags like this. So we can say it's too much baggage. There's too many bags and suitcases. I can also use this word like this by saying she carried her own baggage onto the train. So here she has a bag. We call it baggage. She's carrying the baggage into the train. For the second definition, things that get in the way, we often use the word baggage to talk about some things that are bothering you. Maybe something that you're thinking about in your mind, and you might be worried or scared or sad about that thing. So we would call that emotional baggage. It's some idea in your head that's taking up a lot of your thoughts. Sometimes old worries can feel like baggage when you carry it inside. So maybe you might be sad about something like a pet that you lost or angry about something. All of those thoughts in your head can feel like baggage. They can feel a little bit heavy or difficult. So it can feel like it's getting in the way of your life maybe. So emotional baggage are just thoughts or feelings that make your life harder. Some synonyms for this word are luggage, trunks, hindrance, burden, and impediment. And there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is digest. Digest is a noun, and it is a shortened version of previously published writings, or a magazine that publishes such short versions. So when we're talking about this word digest, imagine that there is a long story. It might be too long for people to read, so it is shortened. It's made shorter, kind of like a summary. That way people can just read the short version to understand the really long story. So the digest can be that short story, or it's actually a magazine like this one called Reader's Digest that has short stories in it about different topics. That way people can read these short stories if they don't have a lot of time, instead of maybe reading the full books. An example sentence is, my parents read a monthly digest of international news. So there's a magazine in this sentence, a monthly digest, that has international news stories, and the parents are reading this monthly digest because the news is shorter. They only put the important information so that people are not wasting their time reading longer stories. So one synonym of this word is summary, and antonyms are extension and expansion. The word digest can also be used as a verb, and it means to understand or grasp an idea, or to break down food within the body for nourishment. The example says, you may need time to digest the lessons you learned in school this week. So since digest means to understand an idea, when you learn new things in school, you maybe need a little bit of time to really understand those things. So we would say that you are digesting the lessons. For example, if you're reading a book in class, your teacher might say, let's digest the story together and talk about the main idea. So when you digest the story, it means you are trying to understand it or to grasp or get an idea of the story. And the second definition, to break down food, means that your body has some acid in the stomach, and when you eat the food, that acid is breaking the food down so that your body can get all the important vitamins and nutrients from it. So we call that process digest or digesting. So when you eat big meals, it takes time to digest those meals. And your stomach helps digest the food after you eat. So you can use this word digest in those three ways. And some synonyms are absorb, assimilate, eat, and consume. Antonyms are extension and expansion. This word might be a little bit difficult to remember since you can use it in so many different ways. So just try to remember it can be a short version of a longer story. It can be understanding an idea or taking time to understand an idea, or breaking down food after you eat it in your body. Our next word is establish. Establish is a verb, and it means to set up, start, organize, or bring about. So you are creating something new, you're starting something new. It can also be to prove beyond doubt. Let's look at the example. The new baby's parents will establish a fund for her college education. So in this sentence, there are parents that had a new baby, and they will establish, so they will start a fund. And fund just means like money in a bank. So they will put money in the bank for their baby. That way, when their baby is older and goes to college, then they will have that money. But for the baby to have that money, they first need to establish that fund. They need to start it. So anytime someone starts something, we can use this word establish instead of start. Another example would be, the school was established more than 50 years ago. So this school was started or this school was created 50 years ago. I could also say, we want to establish a new club for science lovers. Maybe your school wants to have new clubs, so instead of saying start, you can say you will establish a new club. The second definition, to prove something, means that you want to tell something is true and other people can't disagree that it's not true because it's very clearly true. For example, I can say, the detective worked to establish the facts of the case. So he wanted to prove that some things in the case were facts. There's no way that someone can go against what he says because they are facts, they are proven. So he wants to establish that. Or I can say, she established herself as a leader. She proved or she showed that she is a leader. She established that. Some synonyms for this word are build, create, form, plant. And for the second definition, confirm, demonstrate, and show. Antonyms are destroy, ruin, and disprove. Our next word is eternal. Eternal is an adjective and it means lasting for all time, with no beginning or end, continuing forever, and seeming to be endless. So something that is eternal goes on forever, or it feels like it will never end. The example says, poets write of the eternal promise of spring. This sentence is a little bit difficult to understand, but basically a poet is a writer, and those writers a lot of times will write stories about spring, about the promise of spring, which means that spring is something that always comes back. Although there is summer and there is fall and there is winter, spring will always come back. So no matter how long or how cold winter feels, spring will return. It's kind of the idea that even if something feels bad or difficult at that moment, you don't need to worry because spring will always come. So something better will always happen in the future. So spring feels like something that is eternal. It has no end. It keeps coming back. Another example would be, the long line felt eternal. So as you can see, this line is super long. So maybe if you're standing near the back of this line, it might feel eternal, like it's going to take a really long time or it's never going to end. I could also say, they promised each other eternal friendship. So they promised that they would be friends forever, since eternal is forever. Some synonyms of eternal are everlasting, timeless, constant, permanent, and continual. And antonyms are temporary, ending, brief, fleeting, short, and changeable. Our next word is haste. Haste is a noun and it means speed or quickness of motion or over-eager action without caution. So haste is when you do something very quickly, and because you're doing something very quickly, usually you're not being careful. There's no caution when you're doing that thing, so something bad might happen. Not always, but a lot of the times this word is used to mean that. The example says, if you work in haste, you may make careless mistakes. So think about someone like this person here who is trying to work and eat their food at the same time, and maybe they're trying to finish their work quickly. That's why they're working and eating. But because they're doing this, it doesn't let them be careful about their work, so they might make some careless mistakes because they were working in haste. They were working too quickly. Another example here, I could say, in his haste to leave, he forgot his homework at home. So he wanted to leave quickly, And because of that careless action, he wasn't thinking carefully since all he could think about was leaving in haste. Then he forgot his homework, so something bad happened. Now, haste is not always bad, I can say. The fire drill made everyone move with haste. So the school was practicing what to do if there is a fire, and because it was a fire drill, everyone moved with haste. They moved in a speedy or quick way. Some synonyms are hurry, swiftness, rashness, and carelessness. Antonyms are slowness and delay. And a common phrase that people used to say a long time ago is make haste. It kind of means like hurry up or be quick. Please make haste. Our next word is lash. Lash is a verb and it means to whip or strike, to scold, or to strap down with rope or cord. The example sentence says, a cornered animal may lash out in fear. So since lash means to strike out, like to hit someone or in this case to bite someone, if an animal like a dog is cornered, so they feel like there's nowhere they can go, they can't go back anymore because there is a wall. Maybe there's also some walls on the side. So they are cornered, they are stuck. Then that animal might become scared and they might lash out, or they might try to bite you. Another example would be, the wind lashed against the windows during the storm. Maybe it's a very bad storm and the wind is super strong, so it feels like the wind is hitting or lashing the windows. And the second definition, to scold, it's kind of like yelling at someone or being angry at someone. So I can say, he lashed out at his friend with angry words. Maybe he was angry at his friend for some reason, so he lashed out. He yelled out or screamed out or said some very angry words to his friend. And the third definition, to strap down, it's kind of like tying something. So I can say, the cowboy lashed the horse to the post. So he tied the horse's reins, this strap here, to the post. Some synonyms are flog, thrash, criticize, tie, and fasten. And one antonym is praise. Lash can also be used as a noun, and it can be a whip, a blow made by or as if by a whip, or an eyelash. So since a lash is a whip, this here that the man is holding is called a whip. It's kind of like a long rope that if you hit someone with it, it hurts a lot. So the sample sentence says, the man bore scars from the cruel lash. So since lash is a blow made by a whip, kind of like hitting someone with this whip, then this sentence is talking about how this man down here had some marks or some scars on his back from getting hit by this whip or by this lash. So this is a kind of punishment that people used to get a long time ago. Obviously, it's very bad and very painful, so this is not done anymore. But this is what we would call a lash. So the man had some marks on his back from getting hit by this lash. And lash can also be used to talk about this whip or this lash that some people who raise horses use to help their horse run faster. So I can say, the horse jumped at the lash of the whip because he was hit by the whip, so it made the horse jump or it made the horse go faster. And lastly, a lash can also be used to just talk about your eyelashes. These things here above and below your eye. So here I have one lash. So I can say, he made a wish on an eyelash he found on his cheek, or a lash that he found on his cheek. Have you ever had one of your lashes fall down? And did you ever make a wish on it? There are no synonyms or antonyms for this word. Our next word is oppose. Oppose is a verb and it means to be against, resist, or object to, and to be in direct contrast with. So oppose means that you do not agree with someone or something and you are against it. So you don't want it to happen. The example sentence says, a group of senators will oppose the bill. So this sentence is a little bit difficult, but think about senators as the people who are making the laws in your country. And the group of senators in this sentence will oppose, so they do not agree, and they will stand against the bill or the new law that will happen. So it's like this, there's a group of people that say yes, but then there might be someone who says no to that new law being made. That is, oppose. They oppose whatever the other people think. Another example would be, many students oppose the idea of more homework. So the students are against. They don't agree with more homework, they don't want it to happen, and they probably want to stop it. And I could also say, she opposed her friend's plan to cheat on the test. So this friend had a plan that he would cheat on the test. Maybe he didn't study or he didn't know the answers well. So he made a plan to cheat, and this girl, his friend, opposed that plan. She didn't agree with it. She didn't want to be a part of that plan. So she opposed. And I could say, the neighborhood opposed building a new road through the park. So maybe there's a beautiful park in a neighborhood, but the city wants to make a road that goes through the park. And the people in the neighborhood oppose it. They don't want it to happen. So they are maybe protesting, they're letting everyone know that they don't agree with this new idea. Some synonyms are protest, fight, dispute, confront, deny, combat, and contradict. And antonyms are aid, assist, approve, confirm, cooperate, favor, help, support, and join. Our next word is pioneer. Pioneer is a noun, and a pioneer is a person or group that goes first to explore, open, prepare, or settle an area. Or it's someone who breaks new ground, as in science or ideas. For example, the Wright brothers became pioneers when they piloted the first powered flight in 1903. So since a pioneer is someone who breaks new ground, this doesn't mean that they're actually breaking the ground. It just means that they make something new, or they have a new idea that's never been done before. So that's why we call the Wright brothers pioneers of flight. They were the first to invent the airplane. So they are pioneers. I could also say pioneers helped build towns in new parts of the country. So a long time ago in the United States, most of the country didn't exist yet. So there were pioneers, or people who moved there, and they built new towns and new places for other people to come and live there. So we would call that a pioneer. Maybe one day in the future, we'll be pioneers in another planet. We'll go to another planet like Mars, and we'll create or prepare new areas for people to come and live there. Some synonyms for this word are settler, explorer, trailblazer, developer, and innovator. And there are no antonyms for this word. Pioneer can also be used as a verb, and it is to open the way for others to follow. For example, our city will pioneer the use of electric buses. So just like the previous definition, someone is doing something for the first time or before other people, but now we are using it as an action word. So to pioneer is to do something first so that others can follow. So in this sentence, the city is being the first city, maybe, to use electric buses. So now other cities can follow in their steps, or they can do the same. So they are pioneering. They are being the first. Another example would be, she pioneered a new way to teach math to kids. So she was the first person to create a new way to teach math, and now maybe other people can do the same. I could also say, he pioneered a recycling program in his neighborhood. He was the first to start the recycling program. And doctors pioneered a new treatment to help sick children. So the doctors created, or they were the first to use this new treatment, maybe they're using robots, to help sick children. There are no synonyms or antonyms for this word. Our next word is sensible. Sensible is an adjective, and it means showing or having good judgment or reason. Aware of. So someone who is sensible has good ideas or makes good choices. For example, it's only sensible to wear a warm coat on a cold day. So remember, sensible can be someone who has good ideas or makes good choices. So if you wear a warm coat on a cold day, then I can say that is sensible. It's a good idea. But if you wear a warm coat on a very hot day in the summer, then we can say that is not sensible. It's not a good idea. It's not a good choice. Another example would be, she made a sensible decision to rest when she was sick. So she was sick and she decided to rest. That decision was sensible. It was a good idea. And maybe one that's not a good idea, let's say you get a lot of money and you spend it all at one time. I can say it's not sensible to spend all your money at once. It's not a good idea. Or I can say, it's not sensible to hike a mountain in high heels. It's not a good choice or a good idea because you might get hurt or fall down or slip. Some synonyms for sensible are reasonable, wise, prudent, informed, conscious, and observant. And antonyms are foolish, unwise, unreasonable, and unaware. We should always try to make sensible choices. So when you have to choose something, make sure to stop and think if it's sensible. Is it a good idea? Is it a good choice or not? Our final word is worthy. Worthy is an adjective and it means having value, importance, or worth. Good enough for. So something that is worthy means that it is important. It's important for you or it's important for people to do it. So you can describe it as being worthy. The example says, many people volunteer to work for a worthy charity. So when people volunteer, they're working for free. Usually they work for a charity or a company that tries to get money to help people that are in need. So many people who volunteer, they want to make sure that they are working for someone that is worthy, someone that is doing something important or something that is good. So here in this picture, maybe these volunteers thought that it was worthy or it was important to help teach children how to plant, since trees and vegetables are good for our environment. Another example would be, the book is worthy of being shared with the class. Maybe the teacher found a new book and she thought that this book is worthy. It is important, it has a good value, so it's worthy of being shared with the class. She thought it was important enough to share it. One word that we often use with worthy is celebration. For example, I can say worthy of a big celebration. I can say the team's effort was worthy of a big celebration. maybe this team worked really hard and they won first place in their sports contest. So they were worthy, or it was important that they had a big celebration because they worked so hard. And we also often say worthy of praise. Praise is like saying good job. So maybe this boy worked very hard and he was worthy of praise. So it was good enough for him to get praise, for other people to say good job to him. This word worthy is often used with of right afterwards. So someone is worthy of something. Some synonyms are deserving, excellent, admirable, and useful. And antonyms are unworthy and useless. And that's all for this video. We went over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Orange Unit 5 words. Thank you so much for listening and see you next time. Bye!